The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the podcast platform, its affiliates, or even the hosts. The information provided is for general informational purposes only and should not be taken as legal, financial, or professional advice. The host and guests are not liable for any errors of omission in the content, nor for any losses, injuries, or damages arising from the use of the information provided. Listeners are encouraged to seek professional advice relevant to their specific circumstances.
A frank conversation with Hazel Moon. With Hazel Moon. Real stories, real people, real conversations. Just fine. You're listening to Real Frank Conversation with Hazel Moon.
Are we live? What's good, great people? I am Hazel Moon, and I have a special guest in the building today. Tonight's guest is more than just a personality online. She's a businesswoman, a creator, a thinker, and someone who has learned how to navigate growth while the world watches. In a time where everybody's posting highlights, tonight we're talking about the real moments behind the scenes, the lessons, the pressure, the healing, the business moves, and the journey of becoming. From entrepreneurship and social media to love, identity, and purpose, this is going to be a conversation a lot of people needed to hear. So, welcome to A Frank Conversation. You already know who I am, but we're going to get to know the Shelly Delaire.
Hey,
Hey, how
I'm
you
not
feeling?
hearing you.
Oh, you can't. Oh, hit refresh. Hit refresh. Hey, jeez.
1 second.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I'm not hearing you.
Hit refresh. I wonder if
Oh, shoot. Wait.
Can you hear me?
Oh my
Can you hear me?
gosh. I just walked
Yes,
out.
no?
I don't know what I'm doing.
so. At least you got it. She's got to hit refresh.
All right, I'm gonna put it in the chat. Hi, everybody. I'm the producer. Oh, y'all got it. Sweet. All right.
All right, she probably got it. All right. Well,
What you been up to, buddy?
living, my brother, living. Let's see.
Got it. All right.
Hey,
Now
So
we
you know
got
can
you
you hear me?
gotta. Oh,
Yes, I can hear you now.
Perfect,
all right, now
perfect.
you
All
gotta do the
right.
intro again, man. You gotta do the intro again. But now you gotta do it with the client right here, though. I'm just
Now I
saying.
have to
All
do
right.
the entire what's it called?
It's
Yes.
fine.
Bye.
All right. So I did the intro, but I'm gonna do it again. Tonight's guest is more than just a personality online. She's a businesswoman, a creator, a thinker, and someone who has learned how to navigate growth while the world watches. In a time where everybody's posting highlights, tonight we're talking about the real moments behind the scenes, the lessons, the pressure, the healing, the business moves, and the journey of becoming. From entrepreneurship and social media to love, identity, and purpose, this is going to be a conversation a lot of people needed to hear. So, welcome to A Frank Conversation. I'm your host, Hazel Moon, and tonight we're joined by the one and only Shelly Delaire.
Thank you. Hi, guys. My name is Shelly Delaire.
I'm so
Um,
sorry.
it's okay. It's okay. I get that a lot, but it's fine.
How are you feeling?
I am doing well. A lot of people feel because I am on social media that I don't get nervous, but it's easy to just, do things in the comfort of your home, take a video, post it, edit it to your liking. But going live and actually having a conversation, which is something that I've done before, but this is a little different. So I'm still a little nervous. I still get nervous every now and then in front of the camera, but other than that, I want this discussion today to be something that is inspirational and something that, people could relate to.
Absolutely, absolutely. Can I ask you really quickly, what does your name mean?
Um, it's not really, it is French.
Right.
Elitaire. So terre is like grounding in French Creole. So I
Gotcha.
wanna say that it means, a woman, well, a generation that's grounded in
Gotcha.
excellence or something of
Okay.
that sort.
Listen, hey, listen. Go ahead. You got if you want to add to the definition of your name, I
Listen.
would. Like, um, my actual name is I think it's the meaning is in Ishan is child is the reason, and so I just added child is the reason for everything, everything, So I'd throw something in there.
Yes.
Um, Talk to me about who you are when the cameras are off and you're not having to record.
Um, I'm somebody who wants to make a difference. I have nieces and nephews, and it's crazy because when I started this social media thing, even when I didn't even have a huge following. I got like messages from people from Africa. People, I lived in Jordan. Well, I was stationed in Jordan because I'm also military. So I was
Right.
stationed in Jordan for a little bit, and I met a lot of Jordanians and I interacted with a lot of people. So, like, the algorithm pushed me to the Middle East, also to Africa, and to see that people would message me telling me, "Hey, like, you're such an inspiration." And also knowing that, I have guardianship over three of my family members, and I've always tried to pretty much be somebody that could inspire them to do better, even if your situation is not the best. Never be a product of your environment. Always try to push to the limit. Always, pretty much try to put it, invest in yourself,
Right.
basically. So, um, Shellion is basically somebody who is a go-getter, somebody who is trying to make it, somebody who is trying to be different as well and just set a path for herself, because I want at some point to be a household name for the right reason. I want, to just be a mentor to other young women and other Caribbean people that trying to make it in the bigger world.
There's something that was so powerful in what you said there, which was never be a product of your environment. You know, as how are you instilling that in the people that you have guardianship over? I know you mentioned that you and how you live and how you move, but are there other ways in which you haven't mentioned before?
Well, it's just be no do how, you know like, it's just the way that I move, basically, because it's easy to just like to speak to somebody and tell them, hey, I did this when I grew up this way and this is what happened. No, you have to actually be an example. So even like my business, and the stuff that I do personally, it's not necessarily for me. It's for generational wealth. It's for my family, to support my family, to show my niece, because I don't have kids, but I took care of my niece. And that was my biggest thing, to actually show her that, hey, like, we could do this. Like, look at me as a young girl, like, even the things that I've been through in life, like, and then me moving here to the US, like, just a little under 10 years ago, and the things that I've accomplished, like, you could do it. Anything that you set your mind to, you could do it. And my biggest scripture that I stand by is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I feel like, one, knowledge is power, but also, like, um your best revenge is success. So if any door was closed, anybody didn't believe in you, like, you have to channel that energy where you could actually showcase, hey, I could do this. I use my anger, or like, I use like a breakup or a disappointment to push myself. I channel that energy where now I put myself out there and I have to account for the things that I say that I want to do.
Mm.
So it's going back to your question, it's just about, you know, showing up and doing what you need to do. And then, eventually people around you are going to understand and see, hey, this is somebody that's been there, that could do that. Like you could inspire them by your actions, basically.
Yeah. Talk to me about, that moment where made the decision to be the guardian for three other lives.
um Technically, I guess. So at the time, like, my niece was my first. I had legal guardianship over my niece first, and basically, her mom and dad had her young, which was my brother and his girlfriend at the time, and I was pretty young too. I was like 17, but I started my career in architecture pretty early, and I was my head was on, basically. And she did not have the
You were the responsible
resources,
one.
and yeah, exactly, she did not
Yeah.
have the support that she technically needed at the time.
Mm.
In terms of, like, everybody was busy getting their lives together, doing things separately outside of being there for her at the time. So I felt like, hey, I feel like this is something that I can do, because technically, like, I was in her situation once. My mom left at some point in time, to seek life in America. And the time that I stayed in St. Lucia at the time, it was not the best, because you're left with family and they don't take care of you as well as your own blood, well, as well as your parents would. So I went through my struggles at the time, and I just felt like I didn't want my niece to deal with that. I wanted her to be able to be cared to be able to be cared by somebody that would actually love her and treat her correctly outside of her parents, because technically her parents, it's not that they couldn't care for her, it's just that they were figuring life on a different path. So yeah. And then my godson basically stepped in, because my little cousin at the time, just felt that I might have been the correct person to be there for him when needed. And another cousin of mine, so it's just pretty
You
much
just
the way that I have conducted myself throughout the years, that people feel like, okay, you might be the better person to actually be there for this individual.
so yeah, so you've consistently been the responsible one, and when it came to life in general, to the point where
Yes.
everyone in your
Yes.
circle was like, "Hey, this is the person." So,
Yes.
how do you know that today that you're living for yourself? Like, when you move and you operate, how do you know that you're living for yourself versus living for the others that are attached to you?
It's funny because I've only now broken that boundary where I'm like, it's me time, Since then, the kids have grown. My niece is now 21.
Okay.
And I'm just at the point in life where I've learned to be selfish. I've learned to choose me. And I feel like I've done my part in terms of, being there, supporting everybody around me. Don't get it wrong. I'm still the support system for a lot, but I'm at the point in life where I'm trying to focus on me and what I deserve and what I desire, because when you've poured out so much and put out so much for others, and then sometimes, like, it's not reciprocated,
Right.
you eventually learn that, hey, this is your time to focus on you and do what you need to do for yourself. And I'm military, so
I was gonna
I
say,
learned the hard way.
yeah,
Listen, you gotta work, you gotta save yourself,
yeah, yeah. That's something that life will teach you, and if not, then the military definitely will. Um,
Yes.
Give me the spaces in your life where you felt like you got the most reciprocation. You know that you felt that, hey, As much as I'm pouring out there, it is also being poured back into me. Where in your life did you get that?
Mm, that's a hard question because honestly, it has always been a challenge. For me, I think my biggest downfall and something that I'm working on is independence. I've always been independent. So I've always poured in, and it's always hard for me to allow somebody to pour back in because one thing I don't do is reproach. I don't want anybody to say, oh, well, I did this for you, you know?
I
So I've always, mm,
that's
yes,
the one. Yeah,
I've
that one.
always poured into a lot, you know? And even like with my career and everything, just trying to, because being Black and being a woman, um, it has its challenges. And honestly, like, I've always been mainly the one pouring in, even sometimes in relationships, I've been pouring a lot into others. And I want to say that I do sometimes get it in return, but for the most part, I think I'm doing a better job pouring into other things than getting it back on my end, unfortunately.
I wonder, you know, what does the work look like to reduce the independence, especially since you've been independent for so long.
Uh-oh, it's chopping up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I can
I,
hear you.
I,
It was
I
just breaking up a little bit.
oh, okay. So what I was asking was, what does the work look like, to kind of step away from the independence or reduce how much you rely on that aspect of yourself? You know, what does that work look like now, especially in this day and age?
Hey, it's a work in progress. It is a work in progress. Honestly, right now I'm just at the stage in life where I am my motto, one of my mottos, because I have many mottos, but one of them is free will. And I've learned that we have free will in this world. And honestly, like the way I exercise, like me just being a little more soft is just being free to do what I need to do. I travel, pour into myself and be selfish, pouring into myself. And it makes it feel a little more less it makes it feel more natural. So it's not like, hey, yes, it's true, I'm still independent in what I do, but at the same time, now that it's more me, I don't have to be like, oh, well, I have to deal with this person and I'm independent. No, it's I'm trying to be I'm focusing more on myself, so that level of independence doesn't feel like a burden for me. Because it's one to say, like, let's say, like, in a relationship you have two individuals. The man comes at home and then you're pouring every day into this man, you're cooking, you're cleaning, or whatever, and now you feel like, oh my goodness, I'm doing so much. But then when you eliminate that individual and it's just you could find the passion in doing things because you're doing it for yourself. So right now I'm in the realm where I'm so focused on me and my well-being, my health and whatnot, that it does not feel like independence. It just feels like me taking care of myself, basically.
I want to transition a little bit into the social media aspect of, what it is that you do. Um, what's harder, building an audience or, protecting your peace while you have one?
I would say protecting my peace, because people will always have a perception of you regardless what you put online. Sometimes I don't necessarily post real time, or like maybe I might cut and paste, because you never really have to reinvent the wheel to do the social media thing. And sometimes you might see something that blew up and you're like, okay, cool, well, let me just add the text and make the content.
Right.
So for me is more or less peace, having that peace of mind. And um the audience is not really, is secondary.
Give me the moment where you realized that your voice had influence.
Wait, can you repeat that?
Oh yeah, give me the moment where you realized that your voice had influence.
Well, actually, I would say it would be like, I started TikTok before I started Instagram.
Yeah.
And it was a thing where I was deployed at the time, and my battle buddy was like, "Hey, you should do TikTok. Like, you make a lot of money on there. It's easy and it's quick." And within 6 months, like, my channel just grew out of nowhere. Like, I would go live, and my TikTok is mainly military based.
Right.
So I would do workouts, I would do like, different things, but it will still tie into the military aspect. And even then, like, my engineering aspect will trickle in at every now and then. And people were just, the amount of messages that I would receive, the amount of people that would be like, "Hey, you're inspiring us." And a lot of brands also did reach out during that time. And that's when I was like, oh wow, like, little old me, when I thought I was just doing content just to get time, like, to let the time pass by during deployment. It just became something where people wanted to know more. Like, I would go live and people would be asking questions. People would, they wanted to get my opinion on things. People would ask, "Hey, my son wants to join the military. I've been seeing your videos. What do you advise?" Or, "Hey, how does this work?" And they wanted my opinion at that time. And I was like, oh wow, I could actually influence others. Mind you, prior to that, I've always wanted to be like, that household name that inspires others to do better or to do certain things, and be able to be like, oh yeah, I want to be like her. So, I've always this I just decided, hey, let me put myself out there and see what comes back. My mom used to be like, "Oh, you're too hard on yourself. It doesn't have to be perfect." But I'm a Virgo. So I definitely like things to be neat and nice. And I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to post that." I don't. But working in this industry, it has really helped me get a little bit out of my shell and just be like, yeah, let's just, you got it, just post it.
When's your birthday?
The 21st of September.
A September Virgo.
I'm a
Interesting.
September Virgo.
It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Right there about to be on the cusp too. So you about to okay. Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
almost didn't make the cut, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm there.
I feel it. I feel it. I respect it. I respect it. Oh,
Yes.
talk to me about your relationship with validation, now
Ooh.
versus years ago when you started.
Oh my goodness. I think back then I really wanted to be heard. I wanted to make sure that, yes, like, everything that I did, I needed validation for. Like, because growing up, like I said, my mom was away for a little bit. I lived with family, and unfortunately, the lifestyle that I was exposed to wasn't as loving as it was prior. So I always seeked validation. I always wanted to make sure that I was doing what I, you know, was set out to do, or like, people were, I was a people pleaser, I should say. I always wanted to make, and I think that's where the independence came out from, because I always wanted to make sure that whatever I was doing, the people around me understood and they were accepting of it. But
Right.
at this point in my life, I am just, yes. Like it's at the point, there becomes a time in life where you understand that you learn lessons, and then it makes you change your way of seeing things. So now I don't seek validation. Now I don't seek, people and what their opinions are of me. I don't even care to clarify the things that may be said about me anymore. And I'm just more or less, like I said, focused on me and what I could do to develop myself. And I channel all the negative energy into my business, and yeah, we don't do that around here anymore. Yeah.
um, we're about to go to our first our commercial break. I did want to, prior to us going, I wanted to ask you, what are the top three countries that you lived in? Top 3.
Top three countries that I lived in.
Mm-hmm. Or that you've
Um,
experienced, either lived in, it, traveled to, or experienced. Top 3.
I would say Jordan,
Jordan,
St. Lucia.
St. Lucia.
I'm British, but I lived in St. Lucia for most of my life.
Right.
So I would say it would be these three: London, St. Lucia, and then Jordan.
Oh, okay. I actually have cousins that live in Cardiff, in London. I was wondering, for each of those places that you mentioned, what is one memory from each place that you hold on to?
Um, London, like I said, was where I was born and raised, partly. So I would say it would be the innocence, just being free and just being innocent as a child. Um, St. Lucia, I love me a Caribbean country. And I would say St. Lucia is a matter of, I want to also mention like freedom, because St. Lucian's just, you could be broke, you could be unemployed, you could be homeless, and you still enjoy the life of being Caribbean. There's always something to do. It's never that serious to, feel down in that country. So I want to say that it's, something that I will stick to. And Jordan, um, Jordan has opened my eyes to different cultures, different seeing life differently, basically. Their culture of how they treat their women. Women are so sacred, and just how kind they are over there. There's a level of respect that you could literally sense once you enter a room. And that's what I loved about that. And also just the fact that as Christians over there, they're not ashamed to showcase their love for God, and that's one thing that sometimes we as Christians, or we as, people who really seek um God, we sort of hide behind the facade that, yeah, we are Christians, but we want to still do certain things. But these people literally pull up in the middle of the road, and like they get out and pray on the ground. Like, I've never seen a set of people that are so disciplined in the way that they praise the Lord and the way that they interact with others. There's a level of, respect, and just a level of just the way that they do things. It's really commendable. So Yeah.
Who had the best food in all the countries that you've ever been to? Who has the best food?
Mm, I just gotta say, it's not any of the top three. It has to be Jamaica for now. I just have to. I have
Yeah,
to give Jamaica their props,
Jamaica got the
honestly.
props on food. Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
but I'm heading to Viet. I'm heading to Saint Kitts and then Vietnam,
okay,
and I, I'm. We might have to get back on that question
okay.
again later
Don't worry.
on. Who knows?
We'll double back to this question
Yeah,
after
we'll
you
circle
experience it.
back. Yep.
Circle back to it. Okay, all right.
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with you. All right, you
Okay.
ready? So
Yep.
in three, two, one, commercial.
One commercial.
WSAN Radio, the soul of America and beyond. Join DJ Ron G and the WSAN crew every day for the Ron G Morning Show, Funk Friday, and Gospel Brunch Sunday. From local heroes to national guests, WSAN Radio connects you to the pulse of our community. One song, one story, one soul at a time. WSAN Radio, where music, motivation, and movement come together. Streaming live, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and WSANradio.com.
Got me together with this two piece. It's the good leggings, no see-through business.
And we are back. How you feeling?
Good, good.
That's
How
good.
about
That's good.
you?
I'm actually good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm feeling a whole lot better now that I'm sitting here with you. So we're
That's
going
great.
to gotta go ahead and keep rocking. So how did Wells Estate LLC come about?
Um, it's funny. Like I always say, you don't reinvent a wheel.
Mhm.
And I went to St. Lucia once. Actually, it was Hungry Pineapple that I attended. Well, they're no longer in business, but I had a experience where I went to this girl's house and pretty much she was able to cook for me,
Mhm.
and my guests. So she did the whole cooking, she did the decor, and her whole theme was providing an intimate space so that people could feel comfortable and just be able to create a scene where people could enjoy themselves. And that was something that I really wanted to do. And when I purchased this property at the time, and it's not, Wells Estate is beyond the location that I currently have. However, like my biggest thing was creating a space where people could come, have a good time, and head home, and be like, yes, this was really good. The setup was nice. And there's so much more to Wells Estate moving forward in terms of the events that I will be hosting. But as of now, we have two events, which is like a regular annual cookout and St. Lucian Creole Day event, which I felt like the Connecticut scene at the time was missing out on. Like, yes, we do share the St. Lucian culture, but at the same time, the ambience and just being able to feel that you're back home, getting the food and getting, the authentic St. Lucian vibe. That's what I really felt like was missing in that setting. So I decided to make a difference and do it myself. And
Nice.
I do have a background in architecture, so my goal was more or less to showcase, although I do dabble a little bit in interior designing. So my whole goal was to just showcase my talent on my terms, not on a 9 to 5, not for the white man, not for, you know, Uncle Sam, but more or less for myself to showcase, hey, this is my talent, this is what I can do. And hey, if you could come, and just enjoy the setting, enjoy the space, enjoy the music, and just have a good time. So that's where Wells Estate came from.
I'm sorry. It seems like there's a bunch of people just trying to join the studio. I don't know what's going on. It's weird.
I think they're trying to get the live access to the live. Wait, let me see. Oh.
Got it. Okay. It's interesting, right? Because of the fact that you're able to use your architecture background while also balancing, uh your background in St. Lucia. It's amazing how that came together, and it brought about
Yes.
this. So what are your goals for your business now?
Um, well, right now I'm dabbling in quite a bit. My main, like, when it comes to my social media platform, I'm trying to put myself out there because, as you know, I do have a makeup line that I'm hoping to launch, hopefully at the end of the year or the beginning of the year to come. It's something that I've been working on quite a bit, and it's something that is authentic, something that's different. Um, so on top of that, when it comes to Wells, I want to, like, this year we hosted Valentine's, which was very intimate. Um, and hopefully moving forward, I want to do a lot more hosting, and we also do event rentals. So that's something else that I want to see a lot more of, like people actually renting the space. And there Wells Estate is all about event rentals, designing spaces for events or for intimate settings, be it at hotels, houses, or wherever the space may arise. We do proposals, we do weddings, birthday parties, bridal shoots, whatever you could think of. We want to be able to cater to that. And I want to see that, the business just expands as the time goes by.
Absolutely. What do what is motivating you more now than ever? Freedom, impact, or legacy?
I want to say freedom, because I want to say freedom, and I feel that that is very important. But legacy is it's the main thing out of the three that I feel that is, um, that reaches out to me, because leaving a legacy behind, like I said, I've always, with the lifestyle that I've been introduced to, my plan was always to be able to be the difference, to be the household name, and to just, be that girl that leaves a lasting memory where it's like, oh, yes, she did well. Oh, yes, she did this. So for me, leaving a good legacy behind for those that look up to me, and just those that are, you know, even those that didn't even want me to win,
Right.
that is something that honestly I hold dear to my heart, where I feel like I want to prove that I could be in this room, you know, I can make a difference. So legacy for me would be the biggest one.
I want to get into other aspects of life, right? What's a
Mhm.
lesson that you feel love taught you that success never could?
Hmm, that's a good question. Um, I want to say, like, in terms of love, like,
Mhm.
I want to change that question around a little bit, if you don't mind, because you might, this world that we live in is hard out here. So
Right.
for me,
Absolutely.
I more believe like a heartbreak after love teaches you more of a lesson than anything else. And sometimes, people might choose to use that time to sob and cry or whatever, but I'm on a different level. I will sob for 2 days, fine, take my time. However, for me, like being able to jump back from a heartbreak to learn a lesson where it's like, okay, you know what? Let me channel this energy into working. Let me channel this energy into working on myself, working on looking good, be it in the gym, and working on feeding my mind mentally, to show that, this relationship may not have worked. This person, and it's just my sick way of thinking it, where
Mm.
it's like, you know what, I'ma show him, you know. So for me, like channeling that energy when you do have a heartbreak rather than love is what really pushes you to a level of success. If you are that individual that is able to, treat pain, to turn pain into, something good.
Mm.
Because some people might just be like, okay, like they're gonna stay the whole month, the whole year heartbroken. And don't get me wrong, sometimes you still can go get over the heartbreak, but I made like all of most of my posters dealing with the heartbreak. Like I was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna show him, like, So it was me more or less challenging and putting myself out there because of a heartbreak, and learning from these mistakes that allow me to gain success more than me being in love. Because sometimes you fall in
Mm.
love and you get so distracted with the things in life and the things that you need to accomplish because you're too busy, Netflix and chilling and just relaxing. Or, you might be in love, but that person is not aligned with you where it comes to like the
Yeah.
success that you want, or he might be seeking his own success on a different level where you are, like I'm doing the architecture thing, he's doing music, for example, So we
Right.
on two different levels. So we can't sometimes support each other's goals. So for
Mm.
me, I wouldn't say love will be something that really channels, success, but more or less a heartbreak or like a disappointment for me is what really pushes me to do what I need to do in life.
Why is that so true for, and it's so funny because I feel like that's true for a certain type of people, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
even myself, it's like, oh, okay, well, I'll power through, oh, I work, my mind is sharper, or I work a little bit more harder when it comes to when I'm dealing with the negative emotions that come with failed relationships or failed interactions with people, or
Mm-hmm.
doors closing in my face. It's like, oh, I gotta make sure that I succeed in spite of them. The whole entire time I should be focusing on the fact that I need to succeed for myself,
It
you
is
know.
true. It is true. But sometimes we need sometimes we need the negative to motivate ourselves to get up and start doing things. You get fired from a job, like channel that energy to make your own job. You won't
Right.
fire yourself, would you now? you know So it all depends on the individual and the way that they think, and
Mm,
so it's different for everybody. Like I said, some people might sit down there and just, sob about a breakup. Other
right.
people find the energy to work on themselves.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I want to know what is the craziest DM that you've ever received?
oh my god, some of them are way too wild to actually admit publicly, but I can admit that I have had DMs from celebrities, both Caribbean and American celebrities, that I was like, this guy's in my DM? Like, really? You
Mm,
know? But other than that, in terms of crazy, crazy, like, I don't know. Like, I do get DMs from men and women alike, asking a lot of things. So I won't admit what I've seen in my DMs. What happens in the DM stays in the DMs,
days in the DMs.
and
Okay.
sometimes, listen, sometimes I don't even watch some of the things that come in. My DMs are really packed.
Mm,
And I don't even have a chance to really go through all of them. Sometimes I think the best way to get my attention is to have a good profile picture. If your profile picture is not eye catching, I would not really click and see what the message is.
So,
But
so I had a good profile picture. I just want to be very clear, everybody. Like that's basically what she said because I'm not.
listen, no, sometimes too, when it's business and when
Yeah,
it's like
that's what I was gonna
somebody's
say.
just trying to. So
Because I
yes.
definitely, I definitely was like, hey, I would love to interview you. Da 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 da.
Yes, yes. And even then, so it's the profile picture and it's also like the first sentence because you
Right.
just see the first couple words. So if I see the first couple words seem like it's not that important, it's not business related, or it's not anything that's, then yeah, we're not reading it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah.
I want to get into. Oh, actually, no. You know what? Really quickly, what's your biggest red flag? Not in other people, but yourself. What's your biggest red flag? And you can't say
um
hyper independence because you already told us earlier about your
oh my
independence.
gosh,
So
that's what
what's
I was
I
about to
know you were about to say
say.
that. No, go and find the other one.
But
What's
no,
your
no, no.
biggest red
Okay, let me
flag?
let me let me elaborate on the independence, because it's like I think my biggest red flag, and I saw that, well, my mom can say it, my ex can say that too, because it's like I don't like confrontation,
Mm,
and my silence cuts deep. So it my silence is something that I've mastered over the years, and me just not talking about something or just ignoring you or the situation can make you so uncomfortable that you don't want to be around. And that's my biggest red flag, because I just don't like arguing. So instead of confronting you, I just might give you the silent treatment and you might not want to be around me.
mm,
But I also feel like it's better. I'm working on, like, expressing myself, but sometimes it's just better to just let people sit in their, thoughts and their actions, and then, eventually they might figure out what's really going on. But at the same time, I do know that one of the things that I really need to work out on is expressing myself, because my biggest thing is actually saying something. Because before, like in past relationships, I used to write a script. I used to literally be like things would build up so much that I would write in my notes what I want to say to him, and then I'll put the phone around and then have a conversation, because I want to make sure all my words or all my points are met, you know. But and that's me working on not being silent and giving a silent treatment. But I think my biggest red flag would always be me not wanting to confront, like not wanting to be confrontational and
mm.
isolating myself when things become overwhelming.
That's a good one. That's actually a good one. Okay.
Yeah.
I would have. I mean, I would have thought it would have been something else besides the independence. But it's the silent treatment is a very very real thing. Uh,
Listen.
I want to get into the goal of the show, the reason why we do this, which is philanthropy, garnering support from the audience and putting it towards a charity or nonprofit that you care about. What charity or nonprofit would you like to spotlight today? Give a shout out to, and why is the cause that it faces so important to you?
I would say Wounded Warriors, and the reason being is the Wounded Warrior Project. They helped veterans in mental health and career development. And like I said, originally I did deploy before, and surprisingly, I I suffered all deployment issues where, you know, things I came back and things were not as perfect as when I left. Basically, my mind was still raging, just the thoughts of the environment and the things that I went through. I've been in the military for 7 years now. So, like, it changes you as time goes by. And so far, like, the assistance that I've been getting through the VA and everything has really supported me. And it's crazy because a lot of people don't know, but I'm hoping that through technology and through platforms like this, TikTok and Instagram, whichever, that people start to actually understand the resources and the assistance that are there for them. So I want um to shout out like Wounded Warrior and the way that they are able to give out these resources and help other veterans like myself that maybe, you know, needing assistance in certain aspects of their lives.
Awesome. Well, hopefully, those who are under the sound of our voices, they not only are so inspired by you, your story, and everything that you said, that they donate, to it, but they also dedicate time, energy, and effort as well to Wounded Warriors. I
Yes.
want to say thank you so much for joining me this evening. Before we close out, we like to leave with words of wisdom for the next generation. So I wonder, what words of wisdom would you have for any young lady that is, in fact, thinking about joining the military?
Thank you so much. I want to say that, you know, knowledge is power, first of all. So, regardless if you're in the military, if you're in a different career field, being able to, and even if you're independent like me, having a business and whatnot, being independent and just having that knowledge is a good thing. Success is your biggest revenge, being challenging yourself and channeling that energy for a successful um future for yourself is the best revenge you could give anybody. And it's funny because one of the questions that you sent out to me would have been like, what is if your life was a movie, what would you name it? And my response would have been a lawful revenge,
Mhm.
where I like to kill people with kindness, and I like to showcase, like, hey, like, you could do whatever you want. And also just challenge, just showing up for yourself is a big thing. And you don't have to treat people negatively for you to get your message across. Sometimes show you just show up for yourself and just be the best that you could be, and that could make them very uncomfortable. So my biggest thing is success is your biggest revenge. Knowledge is power, and you could do all things through Christ who strengthened you. So
Amen. Amen. Okay, okay. Really, really quickly, what event should I be coming to? Because I haven't been to Connecticut since I was young. I haven't been to St. Lucia before. What events should I be coming
listen,
to?
there's so
What do you
much
have for
happening.
me? How do I support, because you've come on my platform. How do I come and,
Okay, so August 3rd, we're heading to West Hartford Parade. And August 23rd, we're hosting our annual cookout. October 3rd, we're doing St. Lucian style, and we're having one of the biggest Creole events, which I'm excited for because last year was the first time introducing it, and the turnout was amazing. And this year it's even bigger and better because we have artists performing, we have foods and fruits and everything
Okay.
imported, exported. Like, it's going to be really good, and we have a good DJ lineup as well. So I have invested a lot of my time, my energy into these to make it come out as, good, so that the people could come out and enjoy themselves. Um, and there are also other events that I'm, promoting for other companies or
Right.
other promoters. So if you just go onto my page, Shelly8228, and yeah, you all the information would be on there. But please also support Wells Estate LLC. We're a new company, veteran operated, woman, black woman operated as well. So we need all the love and support necessary. Yeah, I'm just young girl from St. Lucia, now live between New York and Connecticut, and I'm just trying to find my way and inspire other young women to actually push themselves, be it through a breakup, be it through because it's crazy because I worked for this engineering company, and prior to me deploying, I got fired. I got hit with the, hey, our company is moving in a fast-paced direction, and we need to do this or whatever. And I'm like, 1 month prior to deployment, out of a
Mm,
job, don't know what to do, and I'm just like, you know what? When I get back, I'll figure it out. And I'm like, you know what? I want to focus because I've always had ideas of things that I need to do for myself,
right.
and be it my makeup brand, be it my real estate, stuff like that, I've always been interested in. And now I'm at the point where I'm trying to push myself or generate all my energy into myself, my business, my brand, create generational wealth where people and women like me could see, hey, you don't have to have it all. You don't have, and then the technology that we have right now, there's so many things at our disposal that we could literally just type it all in and figure it out from there.
Right.
So it's just me trying to showcase myself and show that we can make a difference in this world, and we can make our staple here as well.
Yes, man. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so again so much for joining me this evening. I really do hope you enjoyed yourself. I will say, you can definitely always come back for round two.
I
Um,
will.
and I'll definitely ask you way more questions on that list.
Listen,
I
I
was
will definitely be seeing you again, and hopefully then too I will have my makeup line out so we could definitely chat about that.
absolutely, absolutely. You
Yes,
take care
thanks
now.
for having me so much.
No
Bye.
problem. Man, you guys, tonight reminded me that people are carrying stories behind the versions of themselves that, we see online. And I really appreciate Shelly for being willing to speak honestly, openly, and authentically tonight. So conversations like this matter, man, because somebody watching needed to hear that growth is messy, healing takes time, and becoming yourself is a lifelong process. So to everybody watching, protect your peace, chase your purpose, and never let the internet make you forget your humanity. Tune in next week, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, where I will have another amazing guest. I'm Ezel Moon, and I'm not doing it unless it's fun and it helps people. Peace.